Hi there, Hassan. It's me. You don't know who I am, but that's okay. Listen, Hassan, I came across your video criticizing the feminine man. Apparently, you and a few of your compadres were leading worship, and there was a woman who really enjoyed what you guys were doing, but said that because you were effeminate, that was the distraction to him or to her, and you took exception to that. Said she was being overly critical, yada yada yada, and then you had your own, various reasons to basically reject the ideas that she was presenting. I want to start. I want to start off by saying, first of all, Hassan, I disagree with pretty much the entire premise of your video. Um, and while I'm not questioning your walk with the Lord or anything like that, I think your perspective on this is pretty much 100% wrong. And let me explain why. I want to start by telling you a story. I'm a musician and a songwriter, and I was participating in a music group with a young man who was effeminate. Okay, this young man was talented. He could sing. He had great harmonies, and he was a songwriter himself. One day we did some worship somewhere, and one of my friends who didn't know him came up to me. It wasn't after we ministered, but some other time. He said, "Hey, what's up with that like gay dude in your group?" And obviously, I immediately knew what he was talking about, and then I had to start defending my buddy. I said, "You know what, man? No, it's not like that, man. Like, he's not gay. He just." He got some ways about him, but he's not gay. He's not like that, man. He loves God. He's not living that way. And then afterwards, I got to thinking to myself, why should I have to be defending this man? And why should I have to be the one who tells people how to perceive him? Why can't he present himself the way he supposedly is? He's saying he's not a homosexual man. Why would he give people that impression? It's just something to think about. If you're not a homosexual man, Hassan, why should people have that perception of you based on something that you are doing? You see, this young woman that criticized you, she wasn't pulling this out of the hat. She was basing her feelings and observations on what you were doing. And apparently, she questioned whether or not you are a homosexual. The truth of the matter is that this is pretty rampant, and it's a big problem in the black church specifically, particularly with people, with black men in the choir. It is definitely, in my opinion, pretty much epidemic levels of homosexuality amongst amongst men in the church who participate in music ministry. Now you got to know that that's the case, Hassan. And the question I have to ask you is, if you're not a gay man, this is what I want you to take. I don't want you to take anything else from this video but this. If you're not a gay man, then why should you present yourself in that way? I'm a married man, Hassan. I've got a wife. Wouldn't it be wrong if I was giving people the perception based on something that I had direct control of? If I were giving people the perception that I was single, that causes a lot of problems. If there's a young lady who's attracted to me or interested in me, she might think that I'm available. Maybe I lead her on a little bit, and maybe she gets emotionally invested and gets hurt when she finds out I'm not available. Isn't that wrong? Isn't it wrong? Isn't it wrong that I present myself as something that I'm not? This is what I want you to hear. Would it be wrong for me to present myself as a gang member if that's not what I was? Would it be wrong for me to always walk around wearing red and wearing a bandana and a scarf around my neck in an area where everybody in that area, 90% bloods. Here I am walking around red all the time with a bandana, acting just like they do, giving everyone the impression that I'm a gang member. If I'm not a gang member, I shouldn't present myself that way. I shouldn't do things that I have direct control of that give people the impression that that's what I am. And that's what I want to challenge you to do, Hassan. Is to not take it to a level where you say, well, this one's being critical and that one's being critical. Whether that's true or not, whether they're being overly critical, that's one thing. How people present the information is one thing, but what you have to ask yourself is what they're saying true? Is it valid? I want to circle back to my friends who was in the music group with me, who one of my other friends perceived as gay. You know, the kicker to the whole story is he was gay. That's the kicker. He actually went out into the world, basically left the church, pursuing his little music career, and I don't know, frolicking with his boyfriend. I don't know what he's doing, but I know that he's basically living as a homosexual. He's having relationships with guys. He's hanging around with other guys who live that lifestyle and having relationships with them. That's the strange part about it. That's the sad part about it. You know what I learned from that, Hassan, is that no matter what people say, it's wisdom to receive people as they present themselves. If somebody says, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, but what they're doing says otherwise, then you go with what they're doing, not what they're saying. And my challenge to you, Hassan, is to really think about this. If you're not gay, then why would you present yourself as such? I don't believe that mannerisms are immutable. That means unchangeable. Okay? Now, it might be difficult and it might take some work. But if you have to change your mannerisms so that God can be glorified, isn't that a reasonable act of service? This is not about whether it's sin or not to have feminine mannerisms. This is about how God gets the most glory. And if the Bible says we should shun the appearance of evil, then we would do well to apply that in our lives and not give people the perception that we are something we are not. And this is where I am today, Hassan. I've seen it. This is just one example with this friend that I had. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I tried it. All of the men that I have met, and he's one of several, okay? All of these young men, effeminate mannerisms, effeminate ways, they have turned out to be gay. So why should we think otherwise? And I'm not saying that you're not living the lifestyle. I'm not saying that you're not living holy. But what I'm saying is, if you're totally committed to God's standard in this issue, then don't give people the impression that you're not. And I've already said more than I plan to say, but friend, I appreciate you. I believe you love God. There again, I still want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I just wanted to challenge your thinking in that. And I hope you're blessed by this. Thank you.